Take a look at what happened.
Move his spear. Hold. When you're ready. On you.
Ready?
Move.
Up.
Move. Go.
Hawkeye's here.
Hawkeye's here. Move it to the spare.
Spare, get ready. Spare, get ready.
We ready? Are we good? Shooters down. Are we good to move?
We're
Let's
clear.
move.
We're clear.
Let's move.
We're clear.
Come on.
Let me get my shoes.
I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes, sir.
Hold that in your head. It's bloody.
So we gotta move to the bus.
Let me get my shoes.
Okay, my shoes down. Get the shoe.
Watch out.
Unbelievable. What a terrifying moment, but this is a picture for the history books. As you see Donald Trump here holding his fists up with the American flag behind him, with blood coming out of his ear, as an assassination attempt happened yesterday to the 45th and soon to be 47th President of the United States. A scary moment, but he is very defiant, and this is going to be one for the history books. Of course, the left is coming out saying that this was all staged, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Before I get into the shooting, I do want to talk about how we got here. I have a montage for you of Democrat leaders and just people of the Democrat Party, the media, etc., saying with the rhetoric leading up to this point.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look, as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
That is a type of rhetoric That's the type of rhetoric that has led to this, in my opinion. 8 years of calling Donald Trump Hitler, saying he's a threat to democracy, which is the most famous line they use now. Threat to democracy. He's Hitler. He's going to overthrow the government. We're going to be a Nazi Germany again. These are the type of things that have led to this point, in my opinion. All this rhetoric about Trump supporters being Nazis and all this, calling us right-wing lunatics. This is what happens when you do that. But let's take a look at the snipers here when they took out this lunatic. And I want your opinion on this.
And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
All right. You can see he's in position there. And there are a lot of questions about this. A lot of people wondering why he waited to shoot after the sniper shot. And I don't want to get into conspiracies. I don't want to start making accusations that this was a setup against Donald Trump. This is purposely done. They waited on purpose. I don't know what the logistics are of this. Maybe he didn't have a clear shot at the moment. He couldn't see where the guy was. And then he saw where the shooter was. He saw where the shot came from. Then he shot, which is, I think, the most logical thing. But of course, it's easy to say that, oh, why did he wait? It's easy to question why he waited until after the shots were attempted to shoot. But there could be a multitude of things. We just don't have all the facts. We don't know. Do I think it's some big conspiracy? I don't know. Like I said, we don't have all the facts on the situation. But my opinion is that this was a lapse in security. All the bases were not covered. I don't think, maybe it was not intentional, but the shooter may have been in a position where they couldn't see, like this guy says right here, who says he was warning authorities about this. Check it out. This is a couple minutes long.
And watch and listen to the rally, right? We couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, but we noticed the guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, and, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle.
A rifle.
We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police are like, huh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for, 2-3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes?
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes?
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service?
We were telling the police. We were pointing at him for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these?
Okay, so that's his point right there, is that they probably could not see the guy from where he was.
Roofs here. This is not a big place.
Did you see, obviously everyone, when the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Oh, yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay, sorry.
Secret Service blew his head off.
Okay, just be careful, because we don't quite know who's watching, but you're pretty sure they shot the guy?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Yep.
You saw that happen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And did you see them go up to him afterwards, or?
They crawled up on the roof. They had their guns pointed at him, make sure he was dead. He was dead, and that was it. It was over. All
right, so like I say, the guy says he was in a he was in a position where there was a slope and they couldn't really see where he was. Maybe that's why the guy was trying to wait. He was trying to find the guy. Maybe got wind of this guy where he was. He was in a general direction of that. The guy was on the roof. He couldn't see him. He was in a direction where he couldn't see him. The shot came out. Then he was able to get an eye on him, and then shot him. That is the most likely scenario. At least that's what I think. I think that's what happened. But as far as security, like the guy says, this is not a big place. Only a few buildings around. Why was this section not covered? And former Secret Service agent Dan Bongino, my favorite podcaster, says he's been saying for a long time Trump's life is in danger and he needs more protection. And Kim Cheadle, if I said that correctly, has been ignoring these warnings for months. That he needs bigger protection. He is a former president and he's the presumptive GOP nominee. He needs bigger protection. They've denied these claims. These claims have been denied, saying that's not true. Security has been increased leading up to the RNC, and I don't know. I don't know what really happened, but apparently the claims have been these. They've been denying the request. The DHS has denied these requests, or ignored them, to give him bigger security detail. So I don't know. I don't know how many agents he has guarding him at all times. Whenever I see him, he usually has directly anywhere from 5 to 10, depending where he is, directly around him. Then of course there are people on the outside of that. Now Bongino says there are. No, I don't know. Maybe he has 50 or 100 Secret Service agents, depending where he is. Of course, there are security checks and all that where he goes. But Bongino says that there is of course, you have the main section where he's going to be, that's scoped out and secured. But then there's also an outside layer. I forgot what the term that he used. The outside layer of that, which is supposed to be checked as well. And it's likely there was an area that got missed, something slipped through the cracks, and somebody needs to be held accountable. And Congress has invited the Secret Service, the head of the Secret Service, to testify on this situation. Now, there have been some criticism about the female Secret Service agents who were protecting Trump. Check how disorganized they were. It's like they didn't know what to do. Now, this article says that, of course, women can be Secret Service agents, but the person right there posted saying they shouldn't. But the argument is that they shouldn't be covering the president or former president because of the body structure. Men are bigger, biologically, the men are stronger, and they can withstand more. And maybe have women inside undercover in the crowd or something, because they do have good shots, and they can be Secret Service agents, and I think they can be. They have every right to be. But a job as big as this, protecting the president, you need to have a bigger guy, a person who's bigger. Men are just bigger and stronger in general, which is why this is so important right here, which is why there's been a lot of criticism of this. The women they look like they were not fully prepared. She couldn't pull out her weapon. They were kind of running around back and forth. I know it's a high intensity situation, but the men seemed more organized. And then when Trump went down and the Secret Service covered him, you could hear a woman agent saying, "What do we do?" or "What's next?" or something like that. But shout out to these men and women, brave men and women who protected him and put their lives at risk to make sure he was safe. So I do give them credit for that. Let's go to Trump haters now. Social media. Trump haters on social media say shooting was a hoax created by the right for sympathy and votes. We knew this was coming. Let's get to the tweets here. The failed shooting of President Trump was clearly a hoax created by the right for sympathy and votes. Like the man is telling his security, wait, this is a perfect, and raise his fist. Watch, this whole thing will be found out to be a hoax, all orchestrated by Trump. Okay, we can't make accusations like that. The shooting is a hoax. His bodyguards looks absolutely clueless. 3 shots, nobody hit. Don't rush him off stage, and he makes his photo op. Nobody moves. Hoax. I mean, what a coincidence this Trump hoax happened in the state he needs. This is a hoax like January 6th. Donald Trump set this up and planned to be shot here. Close relation to the Trump campaign. The Secret Service has confirmed that, in fact, injured security incident and okay. Well, we knew this was coming. These people can't help themselves. Of course, they're going to say this was all set up and this is a hoax. Look, he was not doing this for a look. He got shot. The guy is a fighter. He's known to be a fighter. He's known to get up and stand on his own, literally and figuratively to stand on his own two and fight back. I think we saw a warrior moment, but him being shot and him saying fight, fight for your country, fight. Let's take this country back from these lunatics to try and take me out. Let's get out there and fight, not literally fight, fist fight and all that in the streets, but get out there and fight for your country. Let's get to the ballot box come November, and let's take this country back. Fight for your country. That's what he meant. But of course, they're going to turn this around. And then we have Theodore Roosevelt, who apparently was shot, and he tried to get up and still speak. I mean, I wonder what they would have said if Twitter was around back then. They're going to find something to say about any time that something like this happens. But yeah, flashback. When Democrats tried to deny Trump Secret Service protection. Yeah, this was Benny Thompson, ranking member of the Committee on Homeland Security, introduced a bill designed to deny President Trump Secret Service protection in the event that one of the partisan federal prosecutions against him resulted in a conviction. Denying infinite security and government resources allocated toward convicted and extremely dishonorable former Protectees Act. Disgraced former Protectees Act. H.R. 8081. The bill would reform the U.S. Secret Service protective mission by automatically terminating Secret Service protection for those who have been sentenced to prison following conviction for a federal or state felony, clarifying that prison authorities will be responsible for the protection of all inmates regardless of Secret Service protection. Yeah. So they want to deny him Secret Service protection. Of course, they don't specifically say Trump's name in that bill, but we know it's geared towards him. And why would you deny a former president of the United States Secret Service protection? Because you want him dead. You want to make his life vulnerable. That's all that is. Let's get into some media reaction. Of course, they're going to say something stupid and turn this around on him by him saying fight.
I do want to say there was one thing that when I watched the tape, I found odd because of all of the heated rhetoric. And that is that after he was hit, former President Trump got up and said, fight, fight, fight. I think what we're hearing from people is that's not the message that we want to be sending right now. We want to tamp it down.
Yeah, I would just know one thing on this, kind of to that point.
See? They wanted to, you need to tamp it down. They think he's going to incite violence by doing this. Of course, the media say Wall Street, the Washington Post causes loud noises. CNN, Trump falls. NBC, Secret Security rushes him off stage for hearing popping noises. I mean, some of these outlets have changed their tune. Trump removed from stage by Secret Service after loud noises startles former president. Yeah, but there was one. Yeah, Trump falls. I saw that one. Check out. No, here goes January 6th coming up in the conversation.
And then the biggest threat that officials are telling me tonight is in the form of retaliatory violence.
Sam, you're taking me to exactly what I've been underscoring and is frankly very concerning in the rhetoric we are seeing at this hour already. We are seeing some Republican lawmakers come out with statements directly drawing a line between the shooter, whose name we do not know if he's a lone actor or was somebody else, but drawing some connection to the government. We have nothing to base that on at this hour.
At this hour, leading officials within the U.S. government still don't know what transpired, and it is frankly unpatriotic at this moment to be stoking the flames when we know that we are sitting on a cauldron of tensions. We know that tensions were already high before this incident, and the counterterrorism officials and Homeland Security officials that I've spoken to in the last few hours are deeply concerned that this event will be used as a rallying cry to launch attacks against individuals associated with the Biden campaign and lead to broader domestic distress.
So now they're just turning this around on Trump.
So right now, the goals are to investigate the incident, both the perpetrator and the security failures, as well as to try to tamp down any tensions that may arise coming out of it. Now, in this country, there is a First Amendment. And what we're seeing on Twitter, while it is First Amendment protected activity, I will say again, is unpatriotic in the sense that we know that this kind of rhetoric has a nexus to violence. We saw that on January 6th. We saw that in the attack against Nancy Pelosi's husband and multiple other instances.
It always comes back to January 6th for these people. It never fails. They go back to January 6th with everything. And of course, they turn around and say, this could incite violence, could be a rallying cry, for something bigger, attacks on Biden administration officials, whatever. We knew this was coming. But look, I don't want to play into conspiracies. We don't know if it's a conspiracy, but I just don't want to play into the idea of that this was tied to the Biden administration. We don't know that. I think it was just a lone actor, and it's my opinion. There was a lapse in security. More details will come out about this and in the coming days, and as further investigations go on. I really hope it wasn't a setup, but you indirectly set him up by, if you did deny him more protection, or if you didn't pay attention to the threats against this man's life, then yes, you did set him up for failure. You didn't directly plot to have him killed. You didn't coordinate this. But if you denied, you just ignored the request, you didn't think it was a big deal, whatever, you hate the president, then yes, you're a part of that. You play a factor in that. You open the door for it to happen. You open the door for something like this to happen instead of giving him more protection. If that's what happened, if it was denied or ignored, then yes, you're implicit in this. I really hope that's not the case. I hope that they did increase his protection recently. But if, Tucker Carlson talked about this. Tucker Carlson said we're speeding towards assassination of Trump. I mean, you try to throw him in jail. You indict him. You impeach him, this and that, and now we have an attempt on his life. Like I said, we don't know if this was a setup or if it was a lone wolf. It was just a lone actor who did this, who hates Trump. Did Trump set this up to get shot in the ear and pump his fist in the air? No, I don't think that's what happened. The guy's a fighter. The shooter was down. He wanted to he pumped his fist to rally everybody together and bring our side together and take this country back. Not in a way to literally street fight with people. No. But of course the media will turn into that. Yeah, I'm going to leave that right there. This is a tragic moment in our history. And yesterday was a crazy moment. I'm sure we all know where we were when we got the news. Very shocking. And I'm very sad for the family who lost somebody at that rally. You go to a rally to support President Trump, and you lose your life. At least lose your life on Earth. You lose your life. And it's sad. It's very sad. But shout out to the people who did protect him. I'm glad he is safe. And he seems to be in good spirits. I saw him walking down the plane, his plane touching down in New Jersey. He will be at the RNC. The RNC will proceed, and he is going to be there. And look, you can't beat him. You can't beat him at the ballot box. And I hope this is not a setup from government. We don't know. I don't think it was. My opinion, like I said, lapse in security, but somebody needs to be held accountable for this. Shout out to the guys that took him out. But all right, I will leave that right there. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. See you next time. Thank you. Take care.